Uh, Before the board gives you questions, is there anything you want to say as far as who is Tom Kraus? What is Tom Kraus about? Give us a general overview of your personality.
Probably not.
Okay, that's not a word. There's no right or wrong answer to this.
Why don't I just tell you and then you can ask, okay? My name is Thomas Kraus. I live at 6807 243rd Avenue. I've owned the property in Paddock Lake for 30 years, but I've only lived here for 15. Okay. I'm married, and we have 7 children that are all obviously grown up and live somewhere else. This process is a little different because I was sitting over there the last time we interviewed people, and we did it a little differently also. But that was the time when there were 3 vacancies on the board. One of the trustees moved to Wheatland, and therefore couldn't serve on the board. I went as a chaplain to Germany, so I resigned from the board. And the 3rd person that was elected that year, I think the person's name was Fox, decided not to take the office. And there were no other people that had run for the office. Therefore, we had a resolution that we have interviews and that anyone could apply. I remember that because I wrote the resolution. And at that time, I think Karen went on the board and Jill returned.
And Jerry. And Jerry Sorensen.
And Sorensen, Mr. Sorensen. As far as my experience is concerned, I've served on the board. Was elected for 2 terms. I didn't serve all of my 2nd term because, as I said, I left for Germany. I believe I said in my letter that I've served on almost all the committees and chaired some. That I really had no political agenda, and that if I were appointed, I wouldn't run again. There are a number of reasons for that. There are other things that I do, but I'm getting old. I sort of feel that I might owe the village a couple months since I left a few months early, and this is an interim job anyway. And I think that's about it.
Thank you. Ready to start?
Yep.
Okay. What would you change in the village and what would you keep the same?
I think one of the things that I change right now is all the brush that's built up on many corners in Paddock Lake, and you can't see around to drive out. I can point some of them out, but I'm sure that you can too. It's a hazard, but it happens every year.
Brushes in people's yards getting out of control or brushes?
Well, usually on the corners. You know, some of the hitches are pretty high. And I drive a Jeep, so I'm up a little bit. But if somebody's driving a small car, you know, you can't see around the corners. On the side of the lake that I live on, at least.
Okay.
Thank you.
And what would you keep the same?
It's kind of hard to decide on what to keep the same. Because basically I really wouldn't have the power to change it without everybody else agreeing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody knows we're in an economic crunch right now. How would you like to see the village save money? Where would you want to see it? Off the top of your head, is there anything you can think of that we can do as a board to save the village money?
I think to answer the question, I have to see the budget. And to see whether the budgeting is done the same way as I was used to. Whether there was, for example, money left in accounts and carried over from years to years. If I had one thing, just one thing, it would be to decide whether I needed a lawyer at every board meeting. We probably have a contract. No, we don't. Because it seemed to me that there were many times we really didn't need legal advice, but we paid a high price for it.